Hello viewers, my name is Alice Tagira, the chief editor at She Glows Africa magazine, and we are one of the magazines that write and publish articles. Not only that, actually we're the only magazine that fosters collaborations amongst African female influencers across Africa, and mind you, we are in 9 African countries already, and we're doing well. Today, we are graced with the presence of one opinionated political activist, not only political, but also a women activist, women's rights activist, right? Linda. Mambokazi Linda Masarira.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mambokazi, for gracing us. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm very delighted to be here.
What's happening with your voice?
I don't know. Maybe I'm feeling jittery.
Anyways, let's get right into it. Do you think there is something that I left when introducing you that you would want Africa to know about you?
Yes, sure. There's something that you left.
Okay.
I am the founding president of Labour Economists and African Democrats, which is a feminist transformation pan-African political party that is advancing towards emancipation and empowerment of women in political activities. Okay. We found that for a very long time, women have just been sidelined to being cheerleaders, those who gyrated political rallies without any influence in political parties. After that realization, I realized that we were supposed to lead ourselves as women because we suffer from extensive patriarchal dominance, and we also suffer from structural marginalization, which is actually brought upon us by Western influence, Western politics, Western systems, which we have never been able to unshake ourselves from. So it was important for me and other like-minded women to say, how do we start taking the lead as women and ensuring that we create sustainable human development for all women across Africa and maybe across the globe.
She was already preaching. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's get into it. Because she might just take the spotlight and say everything before I say nothing.
Before you even ask a question.
I can see. Okay, Mambokazi, please tell us about your political and activism journey and what led you into doing it.
Maybe I must say I've always been an opinionated person from a very tender age. We are one of those very few that would go in short town research, because I always had an opinion. Okay. Remember when we were growing up, when our mothers used to look at you with one corner of the eye? I used to receive that more than 5 times a day. Because I always had an opinion about everything. But anyway, those are some of the gifts that God gave us, and sometimes it's unfortunate that many people are not able to utilize their gifts because they want to fit into certain environments, they want to fit into certain crowds. But I've never been that person. I've never made friends because I always have an opinion. And when you always have an opinion, people think, people think you want to pull them down. People, people always have their own judgments about you. But I'm one person who has never tried to make people happy. I'm one person who has never tried to fit into a crowd. I'm one person who's never tried to force herself onto people who do not appreciate and understand her. Because I hold my opinion dear because it's mine. I was created that way. If I was created to tell you that, Alice, what you're doing is wrong, I will tell you that what you're doing is wrong, whether you get angry, whether you love me, whether you like me, I don't care. Because I won't insult at your house.
I work with good choice of words.
Yeah, obviously, I'm a very humble person. I use very good words, but sometimes, no matter how good you are, if people have got their own opinion about you, they'll always suit their own opinions. So anyway, that's the beauty of freedom of conscience. Everyone is supposed to be just themselves. But unfortunately, I feel sorry for those who adopt enemies on behalf of other people. They're as good as dead.
Wow.
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So with my political journey, it started in 2000.
Okay.
When MDC was formed the year before, and I had a passion for MDC. I was quite young then, I was only 18, but I could understand what was going on. And we were staying in Bindura. My parents didn't want me to do politics. They thought that it would compromise their jobs because Bindura is a ZANU-PF stronghold. Okay. And a lot of things happened until my dad said, no, if you want to do your politics, you have to go and stay in Harare. I had to leave Bindura and start staying in Harare.
Away from us?
Yes.
Okay.
And no one wanted me to do politics in my family. They only started appreciating my politics maybe in 2017, to an extent that I was no longer allowed even to come home because people thought that I would compromise their security. So those are some of the political challenges that especially women face when they want to embark on their political journey. They get sidelined, they get a lot of criticism, they get a lot of name tags that are associated with them because politics has been predominantly a male-associated field, a violent field, and 44 years after independence, many Zimbabweans do not even understand the value of having women at the forefront, women in public leadership, women as MPs, women as councillors. They still view that as a man's job. And the moment you want to embark on that journey, you're told that you're wayward, you attract all sorts of things and all that. So it wasn't an easy journey for me, and I had to take a pause for a while from frontline politics, and then I decided to go into trade unionism. So from 2001 up to 2012, I was in trade unionism. I became the president of Trade Workers Union in 2006. But during that time, between 2001 and 2013, that is when I learned that it is actually very hard to be a woman and work in male-dominated spaces. Because my first job, I was a computer technician at Great Face Computers, and I worked at other companies like Systems Technology and all that. And every time the male computer technicians with the same qualifications with me would always want to supervise my job. Okay. And when I even started working, the male IT technicians were actually getting more pay than me. And I had to fight that until I was on an equal pay scale.
When was that, sorry?
2001, 2002.
Okay.
So those are some of the things that I fought during my trade union days. I've been fired 5 times in my lifetime for fighting for workers' rights, because there's too much manipulation of workers in this country. Okay. Workers are not treated accordingly, despite the fact that we've got a very good Labour Act. Employers in Zimbabwe, most of them are very manipulative. They do not even give their employees their job descriptions. And I'll tell you that if we do a survey today, you'll find that 90% of people who are employed do not even know their job descriptions, do not even know their code of conduct, do not even know why they're going to work, do not even know their leave days per year, and all that. Wow. And every time they want to apply even for a bereavement leave, they're not even accorded that. Wow. So I had to fight for all those things, and it even became worse when I joined the National Railways of Zimbabwe, which was a big institution, and I nearly got fired the day I got the job. Okay. Because after signing my contract, I demanded for my job description. Okay. I demanded for my code of conduct. I demanded for the staff working regulations. She goes, no, you cannot tell me that. I need these things for me to be able to properly execute my duties. I'm one person who will not go and cook tea for a person because I was not employed to cook tea for my boss. Wow. That is the type of person I am. Wow. I'm not desperate for anything. I value myself, I value who I am, and I value my qualifications. Wow. But the biggest problem we have with most Zimbabweans is they're too desperate. If you're an accountant, you'll find yourself, if your boss calls you and say, go and cook tea for me, you run and say, I'm going to cook for tea, but your job is to deal with the accounts. You get what I'm saying? I've seen board members, women board members, going to cook tea and save the male board members. How do you decrease your value in such a setting just because you're female? When we speak about equal opportunities and equal rights, we're speaking that we're equal in our qualifications and in execution of everything that we do. And that is one thing that most women do not appreciate, and that is why women continue to be viewed as second-class citizens, because they always want to put themselves as much lower than their male counterparts. And I don't know how that happens. We're the ones who nurture life, we're the ones who give birth to these male people, but we're the ones who always submit to them, even in instances where we're not even supposed to submit. So there's a lot that women need to learn. There's a lot that women need to do in terms of self-care, appreciation of self as an equal. Our constitution... I don't know at what point where there's a disconnect where women start feeling inferior and men start feeling superior and that they are in charge of the woman. There is something that needs to be corrected, and I think all this came through Western influence that wants to limit women participation.
Wow. Oh, this woman will go on and on and on and on. I love your perspective. I love your activism and how you stand for women's rights and empowerment. But from what you are saying, you are taking me back to a place where you disappointed me, Linda. There was a time where audios leaked, your friend leaked some audios. You were having a conversation with her, if I'm not mistaken, about your boyfriend and your...
It's my husband, it's not my boyfriend.
Okay, your husband and your daughter. But it happened that you stood up for your husband, sorry.
That is your perception.
Okay.
You see, the problem is when you're not in a situation, you always come up with your own perception without understanding the situation.
So what happened?
To be fair and frank, I don't prefer to discuss my family issues in public because they're private. They were made public by people who were overzealous, who thought that they could pull me down or they could watch the work that I was doing. But at the end of the day, whatever happened...
But the feminist community was disappointed.
They were disappointed because they're not the ones wearing the shoe. In any situation, the one who's wearing the shoe knows how to deal with the situation at hand. I can give you an example. If it is you who's got a friend who has seduced your man, who would you stand with? When you've gone through the court process and you've done everything and you realize that there was an act of seduction that happens, then you would have to deal with the issue accordingly. We cannot say just because we are all women, I will stand with you after you have seduced a person who's not yours. When both people have erred, they both erred, but there was one who was in the forefront. So that is what it is.
But we're talking with your daughter.
So what? Let me tell you something. In any case, my daughter was supposed to stand in defense of the mother. Yes.
And your man?
Pardon?
And your man?
What did he do?
He owes you loyalty.
Yes, he does. They both do. They both do. I never said he was not wrong. They were both wrong. They both
How about assaulting you?
What?
How about assaulting
He was arrested. He's still serving community service for that.
Oh.
I even took him to court.
Oh.
Yes.
Ah, well done. Thank you.
So what are you talking about? That's why I'm saying.
I needed
people,
this
the problem with you people is you talk about things that you do not know. You talk about things that you do not appreciate.
Thank you for
You lie
clarifying.
to each other on social media. You say a whole lot of things about things that you do not appreciate.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yes. So what I'm just saying is, at the end of the day, people love talking about people's issues as if they don't have their own issues in their own houses.
And how did you deal with your daughter?
How should I deal with my daughter? What about her? She's living her own life. She's got her own house. And mind you, this is not a minor. This is a 22-year-old woman with a child.
Okay.
We're not speaking of a minor. We're not speaking about a rape issue. We're speaking about things that happened on two consenting adults.
Okay.
So I will not allow anyone to judge me or to judge my decisions. Because I'm the one who stays at my house. I'm the one who knows how I love my husband. I'm the one who knows how I love my daughter. So I will not take any opinion from anyone. I will deal with my situation in my house, my way, because I'm the one who's affected.
Okay, thank you so much for clarifying that. Because the feminist community...
I do not care about the feminist community.
Because we know...
I did not stay at their house. No, I'm being precise.
Okay.
I will not let my house be run by the feminist community. Because I don't stay at your house. I don't even know what is happening at your house. I'm not a pretender. I make decisions based on me and what makes Linda in court happy.
But
not what
judge
makes Alice.
Based on
I
what's
do
out there.
not care about what they judge. That's how I was brought up. That is how I am. I don't care because I'm not a donkey because I'm not a donkey. Whether if you drink coffee, you bake cakes and talk about me and say whatever you want, I do not care because I don't eat sadza at your house.
At least you have clarified now.
Exactly.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. All right. Let's move on. Linda, Mambokazi, would you run for president again?
I haven't run yet.
You haven't, of course,
Yes.
but we know you.
Zimbabwe Electoral Commission didn't want my local currency. And I'm definitely going to run because I've got a mandate and an obligation.
Are you going to run for president?
That's what I said. I am going to run because I've got an obligation and mandate that I have to fulfill before I die. So I'm definitely going to run until I win. Not just running.
What's going to be your manifesto?
It's going to be a feminist.
Yeah. Tell us more.
Oh, I'm being clear. There's a disconnect between how we used to do things as African people and what we adopted from the Western regime and from our colonial masters. So basically what we're trying to do is to restore the value of the woman as it is in our African culture. Mukadzi chunchakakosha, a very valuable asset. That is why the country is defined as her. Nika mukadzi. Musha mukadzi. There's nothing that can be done without women. And you'll find that most countries that are led by women are actually more progressive than countries led by men. Because if you want to get things done, if you want to get things done, put a woman in front. I'll give you an example. During the COVID era, you'll find that most Nordic countries recorded the least number of COVID patients and deaths because the women they were running the countries were making sure that everything is in order.
Which countries are we talking about?
We're talking of Sweden, we're talking of New Zealand and all that. Most of those countries had women leaders, including Germany and all that. So you'll find that when you just have a woman at the forefront, everything is organized. It's different from the way men do things. If I give you $1 million right now, you're able to make sure that the kids are fed. And when you're looking at it at national lenses, if I give you $1 million, you make sure that every Zimbabwean has been fed. But if you give a man $1 million, 500,000 will go to the small houses or Madiri. And the other to corrupt. I'm just giving you a practical example. Yes, women just generally get the things done, and that is the reality. Why is Africa not progressing? We've hardly had female leaders in Africa, and that is the truth. We only have
Hassan.
No, I want to talk about duly elected female presidents. We had Salef Johnson in Liberia. She did well during her tenure.
Yeah, she did.
Joyce Banda was, she got her presidency after the death of the incumbent, and she did quite well during her tenure. Her son is doing quite well under her tenure. She also got a presidency after the death of Magufuli, who was, I think, one of the best presidents that Africa ever had. And I know in Mauritius, she's doing quite well. Even the prime minister, the president in Ethiopia is doing quite well as well. She's a woman. So I think it is important for us as women, especially in Zimbabwe, to stop focusing on trivial things. I've noticed that most women in Zimbabwe will spend their data watching useless things on social media instead of interrogating how other women are actually going up the ladder in terms of public leadership in other countries. You'll find that in Rwanda, we've got nearly 80% of women being MPs.
Yes.
And you look at countries like Botswana, they're now advancing, they're now taking their women's rights a notch higher and getting into public leadership. We've got South Africa where they've got 50-50 representation, where half of the parliament are women. And when we now look at countries like Zimbabwe, I'm telling you about things that I know, things I've done surveys about. Most women in this country will tell you that they've never fought for a woman. When you ask them, sometimes I get scared about the responses that I have. And this we actually got during some time when there were some students that come from the University of South Africa who were doing their dissertation. You know, we went around Zimbabwe, not only Harare, asking women if they would vote for a woman president, if they would vote for a woman MP, or a woman councillor, and I'll tell you 70% of the responses coming from women was they would never vote for a woman. So there's, I think, a lot of work that needs to be done in terms of educating, awareness campaigns to women at the grassroots on the value and the importance of having women in leadership, having women councillors, having women MPs, even having a woman president. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done, especially in Zimbabwe, for women to appreciate that we can hold each other's hands, be our sister's keeper, and raise each other up. Because we still haven't gotten to that level where we appreciate that a woman can actually lead.
100%. And looking at Africa, what role does patriarchy play in these conversations, and how best can we work things around?
When we look at Africa, I think Africa suffered from the adoption of various religions, and most of them that are quite un-African. And we distorted our own traditional value systems that actually respected a woman. Every time I speak on especially culture and African platforms, when I remind even the elderly African men that akuna dare raigarwa risina madzitete, vanotanga kuvhunduka kana kukanuka as if I'm speaking something that is awkward. There's no war that would go and be fought without the women in that community allowing for it to happen. There's no man who'd take a second wife without Vahosi approving of it. Yes. There's no man who'd go and have a girlfriend. Everything that they do is un-African. But when you hear these sons of Eve speaking, it is as if they were born with a right to have plenty of women.
Yeah.
Those are just demons that are manifesting these men, and that they think that it is the right way to do things. So the moment we depart from our way of life as African people, we become lost. A person without a culture is as good as lost. We denigrate women, we treat them like they're nobodies, we treat them like trash. And that is unfortunately how Zimbabwean men treat women in Zimbabwe. Men have got no respect whatsoever for women in this country. And that is a cause of concern. And sometimes I think that is why things actually do not move in order in this country. Compare the way Tswana men treat their women, and compare the way Zimbabwean men treat their women. It's so sad.
Yeah.
It's really scary that men in this country do not value womanhood. They do not value their sisters. They do not value their mothers. Because if I value my mother or my sister as a man, I would not go and treat another person's sister in the manner that they end up treating their wives or girlfriends. 100%. So that is where it starts. They do not respect women, and that is the truth. Look at the comments that come from men in Zimbabwe on social media towards women. It's really shocking that someone can actually type such vitriol with no shame at all. So there's a lot that needs to happen in terms of reconciliation in this country, in terms of building that mutual respect between sexes, and understanding that we are stronger together, male and female, and that we all deserve some sort of respect for humanity.
100%. And your opinion on Kamala Harris and Donald Trump?
My opinion will be based purely on politics. Donald Trump is most likely to win the American election.
Most likely? Okay.
Yes. How? Donald Trump is a patriot. He believes in his Americanness. He believes in putting America first.
And not the black community.
His ideology resonates with the white capital monopoly. And the white capital monopoly are the ones who run America. And that is exactly what they want. Okay. And let me remind you that Donald Trump is the only American president who never went to war with any other country. He was the first American president who never set foot in Africa. Donald Trump minds his own business, and his business is America. What will make Kamala Harris lose is her immigration, migration, and foreigners ideology. She's accepting all migrants, which the Donald Trump team is not accepting.
Which the Americans.
Exactly. Secondly, Kamala Harris was not elected by a political party. She was appointed by the incumbent. There was an undemocratic process that happened there. Thirdly, She's being judged on morality issues of something that she did some years back. She's also being judged about how she executed her work when she was the prosecutor general in New York. She's got plenty of odds against her. I actually wish her well as a woman that she wins the election.
Where is your heart?
My heart is with Donald Trump.
Oh.
I prefer passionate people. People are passionate about their countries.
Linda.
But I wish Kamala Harris well. I'm being truthful.
This is the highlight of this conversation. Trust me. Oh, yeah. Okay.
But I actually do follow her campaign. I like it. She's got a very good campaign. But for me, I think that is what makes me different from other people. I look at ideology. I look at content. I just don't look at what a person is doing on the stage. When you want to vote for something and when you want something, you have to look at what is being delivered, the deliverables. When it comes to the deliverables, Sister Kamala Harris.
So
that's what I can say.
You think the black community is not doing justice with her? The Obamas, the Oprahs?
That's their political party. Some things also happen according to which political party you subscribe to and what you feel. We also have the black community supporting Trump. Plenty of them.
Not plenty.
They're there. That is your opinion. But I follow politics on a day-to-day basis. There are plenty of black people who are also supporting Donald Trump. It all depends on the deliverables and what you want. Exactly.
So now, Mambokazi, there are instances where your political affiliations appear to waver. This moment you seem to be supporting ZANU-PF, but you also have your own political party. What will be happening? Take us through that.
Okay, thank you for that question. Number one, I am the president of Labour Economists and African Democrats.
Okay.
I do not owe ZANU-PF any affiliation.
Okay.
I'm not a member of ZANU-PF.
Okay.
I've never been a member of ZANU-PF. And I will never be a member of ZANU-PF. Number two, I don't owe CCC in its many formations any support.
Okay.
I've never been a member of CCC. I will never be a member of CCC. Number three, I don't owe MDC any more support. I left MDC long back.
Okay.
And I do not owe Matuku's party or any other political party any support or any allegiance. I am a Zimbabwean, and a patriotic Zimbabwean to be precise, who supports everything patriotic.
Okay.
If ZANU-PF or CCC or MDC or Chimuti party comes up with a patriotic stance or a positive policy that benefits every Zimbabwean, I will support that policy. And no one can stop me from supporting it because it's coming from ZANU-PF or MDC or CCC or another political party. As long as it benefits Zimbabweans, I will give it kudos, I will run with it and appreciate it because it is for the betterment of the livelihoods of the people of Zimbabwe.
Okay.
The biggest problem we have in this country is if a good policy comes from the ruling party, we do not even want to appreciate it that it is good because it is the ruling party.
Okay.
In our own African culture, if something is good, appreciate its goodness and run with it.
Okay.
If something is bad, call it out to order that this cannot do.
Okay.
If CCC today comes up with a good policy and I see that it is good for the people of Zimbabwe, I will support it. This is a good policy. Let's rally with this. It will help advance livelihoods in our country.
Okay.
That is what we call progressive politics. The problem we have in this country is we suffer from politics of personalities. We do not interrogate policies. We do not interrogate issues. We do not do issue-based politics. We do politics. That's not politics. Politics should be able to sustain livelihoods, sustain the economy, sustain the things that people need to live a life free from fear and want.
Yeah.
But when we continue with this politics of hate, the toxicity, the polarity,
No.
But ZANU-PF comes up with a policy. It's saying maybe we've opened up opportunities for women to go into mining. They're not and they got run with it because of ZANU-PF. Oh, come on. Oh, thank you so much for coming up with a good policy. Go and take advantage of this opportunity. Then Alice will sit and say, your affiliations are wavering towards ZANU-PF. But this is benefiting the women of this country.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Okay. I wanted us to wrap after that question, but then something just came to my mind, and I'm thinking we actually have a few women representing us in political positions. Do you think they are serving us as women well? Are they doing justice?
They're not at all. It's as if they do not even exist in parliament and council. And that is a cause of concern.
Okay.
Short of we start sitting. But okay, so what are they doing there? Every time I get an opportunity to meet up with them, I ask them, what's happening there? But I understand the political dynamics. Some had people giving them money to campaign when they want to talk on the Chibomira. There's also the whipping system in parliament. It's the men that are in charge. Sometimes maybe you want to move with a motion that benefits women. There are also a lot of dynamics there at parliament and council and bureaucracy and all that. So it takes women with no spine like me and maybe Anna Priscilla Misairabwe would tell someone that I will get away, I'm not moving my emotion. But because Oshaya spine actually Shakaso itiko all this time I recalls and what but I go secure job, but I got Aragan when you're around the Chikora Bana.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's not go any further with Linda. This was quite an interesting conversation. Oh my goodness. I hope the political fanatics are going to enjoy this. Thank you so much. I enjoyed this. You are quite opinionated.
That's why they call me Mamuroshi.
Yeah, quite opinionated, and I think that's a good one. And the fact that you are also trying to demystify patriarchy, it makes me like you.
Thank you.
So as we wrap up, I would like to say you can connect with She Glows Africa Magazine on Facebook, She Glows Africa Magazine, Instagram, She Glows Africa Magazine, website, sheglows.africamagazine.com, and giratrust.org, our main organization which She Glows Africa Magazine falls under. And also, let me give this opportunity to Linda to tell you where you can find her.
All right, fine. You can find me on at LOMATIC at Lilomatic on Twitter. Oh, it's not called X. Okay. X. And the same handle on TikTok. And Linda Tsungirira E. Masarira on Facebook. And LILOMATIC on Instagram. And my WhatsApp number is 0719118783. Strictly business only. That is where I communicate with the women that want to join Labour Economists and African Democrats, and who also want to join our mentorship program, which is called Her Story, My Story, which we are working on to ensure that we get more women participating in public leadership. Thank you.
Here you have it. Linda Masarira. Until next time.
Next time.